So, hello and welcome to this session. My name's Sam Bailey and I run a company called Silver Compass Digital. And I'm very lucky today to have two very good friends joining me. And we're going to be discussing some of the digital marketing trends that we all feel are going to be big in 2016. Part of the reason why we decided to come together and talk about this is um, aside from this being the time of year when we're all, as small businesses, thinking about what's going to be happening in the next year, starting to plan out our next 12 months, we're also going to be running a small business bootcamp at the start of 2016 that will take you through some of these changes and some of the digital marketing tools that you can really use to help your business grow in the next 12 months. So if you're interested in some of the things that we're going to be talking about today, we've got a link at the bottom of this slide that will help you to find where you can register for that event. It's on the 4th of February and it's in central London. And I would now like to hand over to my good friends Tamsin and Kathy to introduce themselves as well. Tamsin?
Hi, thanks, Sam. So my name's Tamsin Fox-Davies and I'm the small business evangelist at Constant Contact. And I spend my time speaking to a lot of different small businesses around the country, running a lot of education on digital marketing, particularly email marketing, what the right sort of approach is, how to do it better, and also updating people on what the newest things are coming through.
Brilliant. And Kathy?
Hello everybody, my name's Kathy Ennis. I'm a business mentor specialising in working in with small businesses and micro businesses. My specialisms are around brand and engagement marketing, and for me digital marketing sits at the heart of what micro and small businesses should be doing in order to generate more business, as it's the most effective and cost-effective way of getting new customers.
Fantastic. So let's dive right in to some of the trends we're going to see in 2016. And really the first question I want to ask is for Tamsin. It's quite an established technology now, email marketing. Has it had its day? Is email marketing dead?
No, not at all. So I think though the way that people are doing email is changing, and I think for the better. So I think that the way that also consumers are responding to it is changing as well. So I think people have a lot less tolerance for spam. Good thing, definitely a good thing, because we don't advocate that at all. You want to be making sure that when you're emailing people, you've got their permission. But they also want something of value. They're not signing up so much just because. So if maybe they like your business and you say join my mailing list, that's kind of not enough anymore. They want to know why, because they are getting a lot of emails every day. I mean, we all do. Email marketing still got the highest return on investment for any digital marketing medium. So the DMA, the Direct Marketing Association, came out with some figures earlier this year. They said it's for every £1 you spend on email, on average, you get 38 back. And I think that actually, because of the prevalence of smartphones and people doing email on mobile, it's really kind of strengthening that relationship. You can be pretty well assured that people are going to be checking their emails on the go, and you've got a high likelihood of your message being seen in that context, and people paying attention if it's something that they think is valuable and it's not too kind of long and annoying to deal with.
And that's quite an interesting point to pick up on, that more and more people are engaging with digital and with email in particular on their mobile phones. And Kathy, do you have any thoughts as to how small businesses can take advantage of that trend towards mobile?
I think the key thing is to make sure that whatever you're doing in terms of any form of online or digital marketing is capable of being viewed and dealt with and actioned via devices that are portable. So not just phones, but tablets of all types. And the biggest issue that I think we all have, and the most frustrating and teeth grinding thing, is when you get something through on a phone or on a small 7-inch tablet that you really want to look at, and somebody hasn't created something that's responsive to that kind of technology, because the first thing you're going to do is delete it. The psychology of how we deal with these things I find is fascinating, but I just now am so lazy I won't even pinch and click something. So if it needs to be made bigger to view, I'll just think, well, if they couldn't be bothered to make it so I can look at it straight away, I might as well get rid of it. So I think that in terms of this kind of approach and reach out to customers and potential customers, that we have to take into account that people will be viewing things in a whole variety of ways. So we need to make sure that everything that we send out is viewable both on a hardwired or larger machine like a laptop or a desktop, but responds really effectively into a smaller screen on a phone and or a tablet.
And I go so far as to say you've got to think mobile first. You have to think mobile.
Absolutely. I always say that in terms of designing anything, whether it be a building or an email, is that you design it for the group of people that are that have probably the most problems in accessing it. Because if you design it for the least able, then everybody can use it. So think mobile first. I mean, the trends are showing that the transfer is happening. People are starting to view things more and more and more on mobile devices. So design for them first, and then it will work in all formats.
And there's really no excuse for not designing for mobile or designing something that's going to be responsive. There are so many really, really great tools out there, Constant Contact being one of them, that make it really easy for small businesses to make stuff that's responsive, and it doesn't break the bank, and it doesn't require a great deal of expertise either. It's getting easier and easier to make content that's mobile responsive, I would say.
And I think it doesn't necessarily even have to be responsive, depending on which channel you're looking at. So if you look at the way that social channels are now, so your Facebooks and your Twitters and stuff, the way that they're actually sizing, like they're creating optimal sizes for images and things, they're thinking, okay, how is this going to look on a mobile device? So yeah, it's kind of done for you in a lot of places. It's really, I mean, like in Constant Contact, we've got mobile responsive templates, so you don't have to think about it. There's mobile responsive WordPress templates when you're putting together your website. You don't have to necessarily go and think about it too much. As long as you pick the right approach, it's not hard. It's really not hard now.
And the fact of the matter is that you can actually, again, take Constant Contact as an example. If you are technically challenged by even those the things that have been pre-designed for you, somebody there can do it for you for very little cost, so that you can end up with something that's really smart, matches your branding down to the bottom line, and you don't have to do anything except put your content into it and post things out to your list.
That's the other thing as well. I think something that has been affecting digital marketing for a while, and will continue to do so, is the availability of good help. So whether that's getting someone to design you a nice banner, or using a freelancer to come in and do a certain bit of project work for you. It's becoming so much more affordable and so much easier to do that I think that's going to push up the quality of the types of images and design and things that people are using. It's getting everything that, like, the trend is to nice kind of clean designs, which are really easy to do. It's whether it's a Facebook image, a blog post, an email, whatever it is getting a lot easier now.
That does bring me quite nicely onto my next question for you, Tamsin, which is what do you feel is going to be the biggest digital marketing challenge for small businesses in 2016?
Ooh, good question. I think it's going to be managing a genuinely multi-channel approach. So that sounds really highfalutin, but most people are doing that already. They just don't know it, and they're doing it a little bit ad hoc. So people will have what I think of as like their marketing musket. They've got an email that goes out over here, and then somewhere else they've got a Facebook page that they're posting to sporadically, and then something else happening on Twitter and a blog post over there, and it's not coherent. And I think what consumers, whether it's a business-to-business organization or a business-to-consumer organization, what customers are now looking for and what they're assuming happens is that there is actually a coherent approach. So customers don't feel like there's any difference between picking up the phone to a company, contacting them on Twitter, or sending them an email. They don't think there's any difference. They expect to be dealt with in the best possible way on all of those channels. And that can be a challenge. I think it's easy to overcome, but if you're, a lot of businesses aren't aware of that, and they'll maybe think, oh, well, we've got a Facebook page, but I don't do anything with it. It's like, that's not okay anymore. At the very least, you have to check that nobody's messaging you through that channel, because people that love to be on Facebook, if they find out you've got a Facebook page, that's how they're going to try and contact you. And now with Facebook as a specific example, you can check in at a location. So let's say a restaurant. So, Kathy and I decide we're going to meet up for coffee. Sorry, Sam, we'll take you next time. Kathy and I decide we're going to meet up for coffee. We go to our local coffee shop and we decide we're going to check in on Facebook, which we do. That then creates it's not a page, I actually don't know what it's called, but it creates an entity on Facebook for that coffee shop. It's a location now. And people will be, other people will then check in at that place. And if they choose to check in, so I've done it first and then Kathy decides to check in. Well, because I've created that as a location on Facebook, that will pop up for her as she starts to type in the name of the coffee shop. And then you've got other people will do the same thing. And on that location, that Facebook location, you can add comments and all sorts. And a lot of people don't even know. So it would be possible for the coffee shop owner to claim that as their location and to turn it into a page. But if they're just like, oh no, we don't do social media, they're missing out on what's going on and a huge opportunity, and potentially, some customer service issues as well, because you need to know what people are saying there so that you can respond appropriately, whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing.
And I think that sort of just goes to show how ingrained social is now becoming into the way in which we do business. I mean,
yes.
the phone, email, we're talking about things that are very deeply ingrained in the business world. And to be fair, there are lots of businesses out there that have been around for a very, very long time. And it's now just knowing that this is becoming another way in which people want to get in contact. And I would have thought...
I think...
Sorry, go on, Kathy.
So I was going to say, I think one of the other things that we need to bear in mind when you think about challenges is the fact that there are a large number of businesses in the UK who are very small in terms of the number of people working in them. A lot of them are one-man bands, basically, who are really, really good at what they do, but not necessarily great at the marketing, promotion, businessy side of things. And one of the biggest issues I come up against, or two big issues, one is time, because if you're constantly doing all of the things you need to do, when do you have the time to do the stuff you need to do to get the customers in? And secondly, there's a knowledge stroke training issue there as well. So people are used to using email. They do use Facebook, they may use Pinterest or Instagram, but they're using them for reasons other than business. And going back to what Tamsin was saying, it's about how do you turn that on its head, use the knowledge that you've got already and think about it in a more strategic way, in as, you know, this is what I want to achieve, here are my goals, how do I get to the people that I want to reach through these goals that I've set myself, which we talk about channels, but which bits am I going to use? Twitter, am I going to use Facebook, am I going to use pictorial, am I going to use video as part of this? So it's, for me, it's the planning side of things that quite often in a lot of businesses is the boring bit for most people, but it's the bit that they don't do at their peril, because you can do a lot of busy work, so loads of stuff, you're busy all of the time, but it's actually having no impact whatsoever. So knowing what you're doing, understanding how to manage the time to do it, and understanding the time management tools that you can use to keep it more focused and get it done quicker, as well as understanding which buttons to press. You know, that, I think those are real key things.
I've actually got a question for you, Sam.
Yeah.
So, because one of your kind of key areas that you work in is blogging, and like, what do you think is happening with the way that people are approaching using blogs? Because I've seen quite a lot lately coming up about content marketing, about how, you know, you've got some people who are just spiraling into trying to do more and more volume of posts in order to get noticed. And then there's sort of a bit of a backlash against that, which is saying actually fewer, more high quality, but then promote them better. Like, what do you think we're going to see?
I would definitely towards the fewer, better quality promoting those better, rather than purely focusing on volume. It's very easy to get into a routine of blogging, but then get into a sort of bad habits where you just knock out something that's 200, 300 words, but is utterly meaningless. So something I've been working on myself is to blog less frequently, but when I am blogging, to create a post that's longer, in more depth, and then to repurpose it in other places. I will now always post the blogs that I create onto my social channels. I will always reuse them on my email list as well. So I think the blogs that do get the best traction and do really, really assist small businesses are the ones that showcase their own expertise.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly in that, and I think one of the other places where people are missing a trick is not actually posting them into LinkedIn as well. Actually using those blog posts within LinkedIn Pulse, because that's you will reach a completely different group of people through that process than you will through all of your other channels. So yeah, my motto: write it once and use it many times. So repurpose, and actually revisit, go back to blogs that you've written before, top and tail them, update them, and then reuse them, because they are a changing stream. So it means that people will not have seen them because they've dropped off the radar. But the content that you've worked on is still really valuable. So bring it back up and share it with another group of people.
That's absolutely true. And I mean, I've been using this year content that I wrote 2 or 3 years ago.
Me too.
But especially when you're writing content around things that don't change from year to year, like bank holidays or Small Business Saturday or Christmas. It's completely reusable every single year.
Does Christmas come every year? Is that how it works?
Please tell me about it.
It definitely comes every year. I'm pretty certain.
So, Kathy, I just wanted to ask for a little bit of clarification, actually. So, are you saying if I write a blog post and it goes up on like the Constant Contact blog or on my own blog or wherever, that I would normally add a status update in LinkedIn with a little privacy and a link to that article. But are you saying that I should take the text and actually turn it into a LinkedIn post as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, what I'm doing currently is that using the social share option in Constant Contact, my newsletter that goes out once a week is actually a link through to my blog, and I know that the people that read my newsletter link through and they read my blog. But I also use the link to the newsletter for my updates within Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. And I schedule those to go out at the same time as I schedule my newsletter to go out. But that's all based on one blog that I've written. And the process that I've got is that goes out in that format while it's fresh and new, etc. And then when my next blog comes along and goes into that kind of structure, the one previous gets posted up within Pulse as a blog within there in its own right.
Staggering it. Yeah, got it.
So it doesn't go into Pulse at exactly the same time, but there is a regularity of information going in there, and I'm making contacts and having comments and various likes, etc. within LinkedIn for people who aren't on my mailing list at all, so they wouldn't be getting it otherwise, but I'm having some good connections in that process. But that's from one piece of writing.
And within that LinkedIn Impulse environment as well, if you are repurposing stuff that you would normally be posting to your blog, people are getting a good understanding of your content, and I would imagine it's a very, very effective way of growing your mailing list as well.
Absolutely. If you're pushing people back towards your website, and you've got to download this resource if you're interested in it, or sign up for my weekly hints and tips or those kinds of things actually on the website, then growing the list becomes easier. Because I mean, in essence, that's what most of this is about, isn't it? It's about finding people who are interested in what we do and how we do it, and determining whether we're the sorts of people that they would want to work with. So the more that you can drip into people who are interested in what you do, none of this spammy stuff, I detest that. So it is about finding those people that are interested. That's what we're about, because in the end, it's a bit about numbers. The more people that you've got on your list and the more people that are interested in reading what you're saying, the likelihood is the more customers you're going to get.
Exactly.
Yeah. Build an audience, get them to know, like, and trust you. They will buy from you and they will come back again and again. That's what will happen.
Absolutely.
So Sam, do you want to just say a little bit about the bootcamp just before we wind up?
Oh, of course. So the bootcamp is going to be happening on the 4th of February. It's going to be in central London, and at the moment tickets are available for £49.50. But that's the early bird registration rate. They go up to £67 on January the 1st. But for that money, you get a full day's training on helping you basically put together a digital marketing plan for 2016. I'm going to be talking and doing a session. Tamsin's going to be talking and doing a session. Kathy's going to be talking and doing a session. And the aim is for you as a small business to walk away with a physical plan that you can put in place that's really going to help you grow your business, benefit your business, and ultimately help you be more successful by promoting yourself online in the right way in 2016.
Yeah, absolutely. Walk in with questions, walk out with a plan. That's what we want to do. We want people to actually go out with something physical that they can put in front of themselves on their desk, in their office the following day, and just start doing. So there is going to be some theory, but it's going to be a lot of practical application.
So with that in mind, before we wrap up, what is the one thing that a small business should do for their digital marketing in 2016? Tamsin.
Is this apart from attending the boot camp?
Well, I was going to say attend the boot camp.
That's the thing.
Let's take that as a given. So what's your tip?
I would think mobile first. That's the thing. Think mobile first. So every single thing that you're approaching with your marketing, think about how is this going to look on a small screen? How can people take the action that you want them to take? How can they interact with it?
And Kathy?
For me, it's all about planning. It's knowing what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, who you're going to do it to. Taking a short amount of time to get a really good plan together will save you oodles of time during the next year and start to bring you in more money.
And my own would be don't discount email because it's been my biggest success, my client's biggest success in terms of return on investment in 2015. And it's really not going to slow down anytime soon.
No. So how do people register for the bootcamp, Sam?
So to register for the bootcamp, we have got a link at the bottom of this slide. If you go to bit.ly /SBizBC, that's SBizBC, you can basically find out all of the information about what we're going to be covering on the day. And it will take you through to a page in which you can register to attend.
Lovely.
Yeah, that was rather lovely, wasn't it? So that sort of brings us to the end of our conversation today. I'm really grateful to Tamsin and to Kathy for joining me to discuss some of the digital trends that are going to be happening in 2016. And is there any final comments that you guys would like to say before we wrap up?
I think just, it's a whole new year just waiting to be got. Go grab it.
Yeah, mine is don't make resolutions because they don't last. Just as my hashtag for 2016 is, make it happen.
Yeah, well, let's leave it at that. Go out there, make it happen.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.